at other factors, and that's what I
choose there. Forgive me. So Wales and Scotland have a different decision to England and Northern Ireland. Why don't we then do why don't we separate Portugal from the Azores or Madeira or Spain from the Balearic Islands or the Canary Islands?
Yeah, I think there is
HS2. But first, let me ask you, while we're talking about the aviation industry, what's all this about your private plane being registered in the US?
I saw this story.
Is it true?
Well, I've been an...
talk to me about HS2 then. You are announcing the formal start of the construction on HS2. Hasn't it started already?
There's been...
Tony Abbott, do you think that your colleague, the Health Secretary, misspoke yesterday when he said that what he actually said was, what he inferred was that because he was good at trade, we could forgive... Let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick look.
If you've got
Here we go.
Which I'm afraid I'm not a world expert.
Shouldn't you be? I mean, if he's going to be representing us around the world...
Well, and that's the big question.
Be here now, so I'm going to press you if I may. He may be, given that he is a climate change denier, given that he has said some despicable things about the elderly, and it didn't matter if they died of COVID-19, they should die naturally, given that he talked about women and ironing and some of the views on whether they should succumb to sex or not, given some of the views he said about basically homophobic views, would you be happy to have a drink with that man? To talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Busy day ahead for you. Just stay there for a sec if you would. Kate is with us. Kate, thoughts?
I think that was a slightly uncomfortable exchange there on Tony Abbott, not least because while the minister says that until he's appointed, there is no need to comment on these allegations or the things that he's said, actually that's not really the case. If somebody is being considered for an appointment, then there is every reason to be asked those questions and to answer them too. But looking at the regional quarantine and the idea about Portugal, the discussion that you had about the variations around the UK, I think there were some really interesting things there because Grant Shapps said that it does create confusion, that he can only be responsible for policy here, which is true, but he also made 2 points about the future. He suggested that the UK is looking at regional quarantines, which was obviously something that was suggested at the time of the Spanish changes. So that could be quite a big deal for some people, and it might, as you said, help out the airline industry potentially. And he also suggested that the government was looking at airport testing. Now, this is something on the front pages of the Times today and the Daily Mail, a huge campaign to try and cut that quarantine down. And Grant Shapps himself said there was the potential there to cut it from 14 days to 7 to 8 days, which really would be a game changer for a lot of people. So it does sound like those discussions are continuing. OK,
Kate, for now, thank you. Still to come on the programme for you this morning, a month on from Beirut's deadly explosion. We'll be joined by the British election in early November. Of course, we're covering that for you extensively here on Sky News. Looked pretty calm, the weather there, didn't it? What about where we are? Let's find out. Naz is with us. Hey, Naz. Oh, look, we've got the same colour on, more or less. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
My director asking me to describe the colour of my dress this morning. He said he thinks it looks teal. I'm going for green, but he's posher than I am. Still to come on the programme for you this morning. We're going to be talking about what's happening with testing at airports. As I said, if you'd seen the interview with the Minister, Claire Irvin from the Daily Telegraph will be with us very shortly to talk about airport testing. Is it a good thing? Stay tuned for more. Hello everybody, very good morning. It is 8 o'clock. You are watching the only breakfast show live from the very heart of Westminster. Sun, sea and scathing criticism for the government as the UK splits over quarantine rules for holiday makers from Portugal and from Greece. The Transport Secretary tells me he understands why there is so much confusion, but thinks that airport testing isn't the solution. As pressure mounts on one former Australian PM over his controversial views, we'll speak to the woman who preceded him in office, Julia Gillard, about her new book on women and leadership. There she is, joining us a little bit later on and giving us all the right moves. Dancing brothers AJ and Curtis Pritchard will take us through the latest TV and film releases at 9:45 as they take centre stage here on the programme. It's Friday, the 4th of September. Quarantine